Right, for our wordy picture problems, we're just going to look at 2 examples, and then I've got 7 questions, I think, for you to just practice and run through these. And then, more importantly, on Friday, when you go through past tests, just to look at those end questions that ask them quite nicely. So, our first example: the sum of 3 consecutive even numbers is equal to 42. Determine the 3 numbers. And you know, you're thinking, okay, let's just try some. Small enough. So what about 8, 10, and 12? So you go there, 3 things, 3 numbers, even numbers. 8 plus 10, 18 plus 12 is 30. Nope, so everything should be a bit bigger. Let's go 14, 16, 18. That's 30, that's 48. That's a little bit too high. And that's kind of vaguely valid because it's quite small. But what I want to see and what we want to see in this here is how do we use this to set up an equation. So hence in the test it will probably say question A, set up an equation and then solve it, because it's as much finding the answer as it really is translating this into something mathematical. Okay, so consecutive even numbers. Okay, so here's these types of questions often come up, and we did a few of those when we did that factorization challenges worksheet in term 1. So if our first number is x, okay, and we're doing the sum, we must be adding that to something and then adding it to something else. And once we've added these 3 numbers, what is it equal to? Well, it's equal to 42. But what are these other 2 numbers? We don't want to say y and z, because if we said, okay, plus y plus z, it's going to be difficult to solve this equation because there are 3 things we don't know. So we're going to say, instead of y and z, we can call these numbers something in terms of x. So the first number was 8. How did we get from 8 up to 10? Well, with any even number, aren't we just adding 2? How did we get from 14 to 16? We added 2. So if our first number is x, what's our second number? Well, it's still going to plus 2, right? So this one must be x plus 2. Okay, so there's our second number. If this number is x plus 2, then what's this third number going to be? Well, to get from the first number to the third number here, what did we do? Well, we plus 2 to get to that one, plus another 2, so we've plus 4. To get from this 14 to 18, we plus 2, then plus 2 again, so we're plussing 4. So for this one here, we've got x, we plus 2, we must have plus 4 to get that one, so we took x and we added 4. So our third number we could say is x plus 4. Okay, now we've got an equation and there's only one thing we don't know in it, this x. So in our second part, this could be kind of part A, part B. Let's solve it, and this is just an easy equation to solve. X plus x plus x, we've got 3x. 2 plus 4 is 6 equals 42. Okay, then we just want x's here, so we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So we've got 3x equals 36. Okay, we just want x there, so we divide by 3 from both sides, because then these cancel nicely and we're just left with x. 36 over 3, 12. Of course, pop it in the calculator if you really need to. And we're not done yet though, because what did the question ask? It said determine the 3 numbers. So our final bit is just say, okay, so what were those 3 numbers? What was x? X was our first number. So the 3 numbers are 12. The next number was x plus 2, or the next even number. We can interpret and go 12, 14, 16. Probably worthwhile just saying, does this make sense? 12 plus 14, 26, 26 plus 16, 42. Yes, so it works and answers our question. Okay, so there's how we might set that up. Okay, one more in our second and final example here. A rectangle has an area of 8 meters. Its breadth is 2 meters less than its length. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. Okay, a rectangle. Rectangle. Nice scribble of rectangle. Has an area of 8 meters. should really say an area of 8 meters squared. Area equals 8 meters squared, but I'm going to skip the units. Its breadth is 2 meters less than its length. Find the dimensions. Okay, so this side here is 2 less than that. So if that were 6, this would be 4. 6 times 4, 8, doesn't work. But that's the idea. If this one were 10, then this one would have been 8, because it's 2 less. But we don't know what's what, so 2 different ways we could look at this and say, well, where did our rectangle go? There it is. If this one's x, what is this one? Well, we're subtracting 2 from that one, so it's x minus 2. Okay, so there's our equation, just waiting to be had. How do we work out area? Well, area for a rectangle is just length times breadth. So our area is given to us. It's 8 equals x, which is the length, times x minus 2. Okay, well, here's an equation to solve. There's only one thing we don't know, x. Let's multiply this x into the bracket and see what we get. 8 equals x squared minus 2x. Oh, we've just been doing these quadratic equations. What do? Rearrange it so we've got equals 0 on the one side. I'm definitely going to rearrange this so that the 0 is on the left-hand side. And let's keep it all in this color here and go. So if we want 0 there, what do we need to do? Well, we're going to need to subtract 8. So 8 minus 8 is 0. 2 do on one side, 2 on the other. So x squared minus 2x minus 8. Cool. 0 equals, what do we do again? Factorize. Highest common factor, nothing interesting. Not difference of 2 squareds. Must be a trinomial, bracket, 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 x. What times what gives you 8? I'm going to go for 4 and 2 and go negative 4 plus 2. Let's just check it. X times x gives us the x squared. Negative 4 times positive 2 gives us negative 8. X times 2 gives us 2x. Minus 4 times x is minus 4x. 2x minus 4x minus 2x. Yeah, that is our middle term, so our factorizations worked. Okay, so this gives us 2 solutions. Either x minus 4 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so x equals 4 or x equals negative 2. Only one of these is valid. Yeah, only this one's valid. Why can't x be negative 2? What was x? X was a side length. Can't have a side length of negative 2. Must be 4. Now, just like the first question, find the dimensions of the rectangle. So we're not done yet. X is 4, so that was, this length is 4. Therefore, this side length must be 2. So let's just write there, length equals 4, and the breadth equals 2. Does that work? 4 times 2 gives you 8. Done. Okay, so there's kind of our process. So we're turning something that's given to us, we're going to turn it into some sort of equation, and then secondly, we're going to solve it, and thirdly, we're actually going to answer the question. So for this one, we set up our equation, solved it, and really answered the question as our last step. So for the last bit here, we've got a few questions, 5 times this number, 7 times the number, those types of things. We got some length and areas and perimeters and that, and then just one to do with a triangle. First hint, if you're given a rectangle, draw a rectangle. If you're given a right angle triangle, draw a right angle triangle. Then we can work from there. Have the fun.